Today's reading from the Old Testament, Leviticus chapter 8, verse 1 through chapter 9, verse 24. And Yahweh speaks to Moses, saying, Take Aaron and his sons with him, and the garments, and the anointing oil, and the bullock of the sin offering, and the 2 rams, and the basket of unleavened things, and assemble all the congregation to the opening of the tent of meeting. And Moses does as Yahweh has commanded him, and the congregation is assembled to the top opening of the tent of meeting. And Moses says to the congregation, This is the thing which Yahweh has commanded to do. And Moses brings Aaron and his sons near, and bathes them with water, and puts the coat on him, and girds him with the girdle, and clothes him with the upper robe, and puts the ephod on him, and girds him with the girdle of the ephod, and binds it to him with it, and puts the breastplate on him, and puts the lights and the perfections into the breastplate, and puts the turban on his head, and puts the golden flower of the holy crown on the turban, toward the front of its face, as Yahweh has commanded Moses. And Moses takes the anointing oil, and anoints the dwelling place, and all that is in it, and sanctifies them. And he sprinkles of it on the altar 7 times, and anoints the altar, and all its vessels, and the laver, and its base, to sanctify them. And he pours of the anointing oil on the head of Aaron, and anoints him to sanctify him. And Moses brings the sons of Aaron near, and clothes them with coats, and girds them with girdles, and binds caps to them, as Yahweh has commanded Moses. And he brings the bullock of the sin offering near, and Aaron lays his sons also their hands on the head of the bullock of the sin offering. And one slaughters, and Moses takes the blood, and puts it around the horns of the altar with his finger, and cleanses the altar. And he has poured out the blood at the foundation of the altar, and sanctifies it, to make atonement on it. And he takes all the fat that is on the innards, and the redundants on the liver, and the 2 kidneys and their fat, and Moses makes incense on the altar. And the bullock and its skin, and its flesh, and its dung, he has burned with fire, at the outside of the camp, as Yahweh has commanded Moses. And he brings the ram of the burnt offering near, and Aaron and his sons lay their hands on the head of the ram. And one slaughters, and Moses sprinkles the blood around the altar. And he has cut the ram into its pieces, and Moses makes incense with the head, and the pieces, and the fat. And he has washed the innards and the legs with water, and Moses makes incense with the whole ram on the altar. It is a burnt offering for refreshing favorites. It is a fire offering to Yahweh, as Yahweh has commanded Moses. And he brings the 2nd ram near, a ram of the consecrations. And Aaron and his sons lay their hands on the head of the ram. And one slaughters, and Moses takes of its blood, and puts it on the tip of the right ear of Aaron, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the great toe of his right foot. And he brings the sons of Aaron near, and Moses puts of the blood on the tip of their right ear, and on the thumb of their right hand, and on the great toe of their right foot. And Moses sprinkles the blood around the altar, and takes the fat, and the fat tail, and all the fat that is on the innards, and the redundants on the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and their fat, and the right leg. And out of the basket of unleavened things, which is before Yahweh, he has taken 1 unleavened cake, and 1 cake of oiled bread, and 1 thin cake, and puts them on the fat, and on the right leg. And he puts the whole on the hands of Aaron, and on the hands of his sons, and waves them as a wave offering before Yahweh. And Moses takes them from off their hands, and makes incense on the altar. On the burnt offering, they are consecrations for refreshing fragrance. It is a fire offering to Yahweh. And Moses takes the breast, and waves it as a wave offering before Yahweh. It has been for Moses for a portion of the ram of the consecrations, as Yahweh has commanded Moses. And Moses takes of the anointing oil, and of the blood which is on the altar, and sprinkles them on Aaron, on his garments, and on his sons, and on the garments of his sons with him. And he sanctifies Aaron, his garments, and his sons, and the garments of his sons with him. And Moses says to Aaron and to his sons, boil the flesh at the opening of the tent of meeting, and there you eat it, and the bread which is in the basket of the consecrations, as I have commanded, saying, Aaron and his sons eat it. And the remnant of the flesh and of the bread you burn with fire. And you do not go out from the opening of the tent of meeting for 7 days, until the day of the fullness, the days of your consecration. For 7 days he consecrates your hand. And he has done on this day, Yahweh has commanded to do, to make atonement for you. And you abide at the opening of the tent of meeting by day and by night for 7 days. And you have kept the charge of Yahweh, and do not die, for so I have been commanded. And Aaron does, his sons also, all the things which Yahweh has commanded by the hand of Moses. And it comes to pass on the 8th day, Moses is called for Aaron and for his sons and for the elderly of Israel. And he says to Aaron, take a calf for yourself, a son of the herd, for a sin offering, and a ram for a burnt offering, perfect ones, and bring them near before Yahweh. And you speak to the sons of Israel, saying, take a kid of the goats for a sin offering, and a calf and a lamb, sons of a year, perfect ones, for a burnt offering, and a bullock and a ram for peace offerings to sacrifice before Yahweh, and a present mixed with oil, for today Yahweh has appeared to you. And they take that which Moses has commanded to the front of the tent of meeting, and all the congregation draws near and stands before Yahweh. And Moses said, this is the thing which Yahweh has commanded. Do it, and the glory of Yahweh appears to you. And Moses says to Aaron, draw near to the altar, and make your sin offering, and your burnt offering, and make atonement for yourself and for the people, and make the offering of the people, and make atonement for them, as Yahweh has commanded. And Aaron draws near to the altar, and slaughters the calf of the sin offering, which is for himself. And the sons of Aaron bring the blood near to him, and he dips his finger in the blood, and puts it on the horns of the altar, and he has poured out the blood at the foundation of the altar. And the fat and the kidneys and the redundants of the liver of the sin offering, he has made incense on the altar, as Yahweh has commanded Moses. And he has burned the flesh and the skin with fire at the outside of the camp. And he slaughters the burnt offering, and the sons of Aaron have presented the blood to him, and he sprinkles it around the altar. And they have presented the burnt offering to him by its pieces and the head, and he makes incense on the altar. And he washes the innards and the legs, and makes incense for the burnt offerings on the altar. And he brings the offering of the people near, and takes the goat of the sin offering, which is for the people, and slaughters it, and makes it a sin offering like the first. And he brings the burnt offering near, and makes it according to the ordinance. And he brings the present near, and fills his palm with it, and makes incense on the altar, apart from the burnt offering of the morning. And he slaughters the bullock and the ram, a sacrifice of the peace offerings, which are for the people. And sons of Aaron present the blood to him, and he sprinkles it around the altar. And the fat of the bullock and of the ram, the fat tail and the covering of the innards, and the kidneys and the redundants of the liver. And they set the fat on the breast, and he makes incense with the fat on the altar. And Aaron has waved the breast and the right leg as a wave offering before Yahweh, as he has commanded Moses. And Aaron lifts up his hand toward the people and blesses them, and comes down from making the sin offering and the burnt offering and the peace offerings. And Moses goes in, Aaron also, to the tent of meeting, and they come out and bless the people, and the glory of Yahweh appears to all the people. And fire comes out from before Yahweh, and consumes the burnt offering and the fat on the altar, and all the people see, and cry aloud, and fall on their faces.
Mark chapter 5, verse 23 to 43. And he was calling on him much, saying, my little daughter is at the last extremity. That having come, you may lay on her your hands, so that she may be saved, and she will live. And he went away with him, and there was following him a great multitude, and they were thronging him. And a certain woman, being with a flow of blood for 12 years, and having suffered many things under many physicians, and having spent all that she had, and having profited nothing, but rather having come to the worse. Having heard about Jesus, having come into the multitude behind, she touched his garment. For she said, "If I may even touch his garments, I will be saved." And immediately the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she knew in the body that she had been healed of the plague. And immediately Jesus, having known in himself that power had gone forth out of him, having turned in the multitude, said, "Who touched my garments?" And his disciples said to him, "You see the multitude thronging you, and you say, 'Who touched me?'" And he was looking around to see who did this. And the woman, having been afraid and trembling, knowing what was done on her, came and fell down before him and told him all the truth. And he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has saved you. Go away in peace and be whole from your plague." As he is yet speaking, there come from the chief of the synagogue's house certain, saying, "Your daughter died. Why do you still harass the teacher?" And Jesus immediately, having heard the word that is spoken, says to the chief of the synagogue, "Do not be afraid, only believe." And he did not permit anyone to follow with him, except Peter and James and John, the brother of James. And he comes into the house of the chief of the synagogue and sees a tumult, much weeping and wailing. And having gone in, he says to them, "Why do you make a tumult and weep? The child did not die, but sleeps." And they were laughing at him. And he, having put all forth, takes the father of the child and the mother and those with him, and goes in where the child is lying. And having taken the hand of the child, he says to her, "Talitha cumi," which is being interpreted, "Girl, I say to you, arise." And immediately the girl arose, and she was walking, for she was 12 years old, and they were amazed with a great amazement. And he charged them much, that no one may know this thing. And he said that there be given to her to eat. Today's reading from the Psalms, chapter 29, 8 through 30 verse 2. The voice of Yahweh pains the oaks and makes bare the forests. And in his temples, everyone says, "Glory." Yahweh has sat on the flood, and Yahweh sits as king for all time. Yahweh gives strength to his people. Yahweh blesses his people with peace. A psalm, a song of the dedication of the house of David. I exalt you, O Yahweh, for you have drawn me up, and you have not let my enemies rejoice over me. My God Yahweh, I have cried to you, and you heal me.
Today's reading from the Proverbs, chapter 6, verse 7 through 8. Which has no captain, overseer, and ruler. She prepares her bread in summer. She has gathered her food in harvest.
Your faith has saved you.